So the biggest problem that we feel like a lot of men face is that honestly they're struggling. They're not feeling good about themselves. And when you don't feel good about yourself, you can't show up as the best version of yourself. So we want to talk about why you don't feel good about yourself. What's causing these internal friction within you?
Agreed. It's like, and I know that you can relate. If this isn't you, maybe it used to be you. I know damn well it used to be me, and I'm sure Amadeus can relate to. But there are so many men out here who are walking around with such low self-esteem. It's almost as if you are a shell of who you could be. You are not living your life, you are merely existing. You are not being a mover and shaker, you are just trying to not be a disruptor. And you are so deep into this rabbit hole of your low self esteem that you don't even see it as a problem. And if you don't believe that, just think about how many times you've heard a guy get some advice like, "Hey man, you maybe switch up your style like this," or "Oh, go talk to that girl," or "Man, go apply for that job," and their response is always the same. I'm just not that type of guy. I can never say that. I can't do that. That's not me. And it's like, is it not you? Or are you just so deep in the hole that you're still living out of the stories that people told you from when you were a kid and you have no idea who you actually are?
And honestly, I can co-sign with Coach Hardy and understand that it's really this identity that we've created of ourselves that we're not good enough,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's that simple. Not good enough. And because we're not good enough, let me stay in my shell. Let me hide myself. Let me not show up today and say, no, I can't do that. That's not me. And that was us years ago. But we want to talk about that. We want to talk about that problem. And the biggest problem is your self image. It's how you see yourself. One of the lessons I really learned in my life is that your inner world creates your outer world. So if you see yourself as a small man, that's what you're gonna be. It's just what it
Agreed.
is. But we see yourself as a great man.
Got to, because if you don't see yourself as a great man, I'm gonna raise the bar. If you don't see yourself as an exceptional man, it's going to be perfectly natural for you to run away from everything that is for your betterment. And I'm talking about opportunities. I'm talking about expressing yourself how you really feel. I'm talking about living in your authenticity. And most important, I'm talking about living a life following your own direction and truly being able to stand up one day and say that I walked in my purpose. And I know that all sounds nice, but I'm telling you from firsthand experience, your life has the potential to be astronomically different the second you decide that the work of climbing out of your dark hole is so much better than the comfort of sitting in the shit at the bottom of that hill.
I think we've all seen the movie Batman, and we've seen how
Mm-hmm.
Bruce hit with trauma of losing his parents and honestly going through negative emotions and taking all those negative emotions and really just creating a new identity, creating a new version of him. Because the old version of him, and right, he was looking for his parent. He wanted justice for his parents. And the old version of him couldn't get that justice that his parents stood for. And so he went on his journey, his training arc to be the Batman. And we want you to do the same thing. We want you to go on your journey, your training arc to be whoever the ideal that you know you want to be. Because I'm sure if you're listening, you have that thing in the back of your mind saying, I want more. I want to do more. I want to be more. But you don't believe you can be more. And we're here to say you can be more.
Without a doubt. And if you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, "Oh, that's ridiculous. Obviously could never be Batman. I'm not a billionaire. I'm not going through trauma." Stop. Because Batman did not believe he could be Batman. Right? One of my favorite scenes from that movie is when Alfred is talking to Bruce and he asks Bruce, "Why bats?" Right? Great question, obviously, right? Very random. And Bruce literally says, "Because I'm afraid of them." And as I'm sure you can imagine, Alfred was very confused. He's like, "What do you, I don't get it. Why would you become what you're afraid of?" And Bruce hit this iconic line, and honestly, it lives rent free in my head. And Bruce literally said, "I had to become what I was afraid of to unlock my power." And in that same way, you have to unlock what you're afraid of. There's nothing wrong with having a fear of your greatness, But there's everything wrong with letting that fear stop you from being great.
So, what's your fears? What are you afraid of? What's holding you back as an individual? Talk about it. Comment.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know. We want to know what's holding you back because honestly, the most important lesson and the only lesson is that you need to attack them and you need to rewrite your story as a man who confronts his fears. That's what Bruce did. He rewrote his story. Not a person who's afraid of bats, but a person who conquered them.
Absolutely. All right, I'll speak on my own fear. One of my biggest fears for a long time in my adolescence was that I didn't believe that I was man enough. Period. And why I didn't believe I was man enough? Because all I heard growing up is the if you're not a player, you're not a real man. If you have emotions, you're not a real man. If you're not willing to go fight someone because they insulted you, you're not a real man. If you're not this athletic god, you're not a real man, right? And what I didn't realize was that all of these negative stories were letting these beliefs creep in slowly and quietly in my mind. And it's like you literally just wake up one day and you have to come to terms, right? Can you look at yourself in the mirror and truly respect and love the person standing in front of you? Because if you can't, something needs to change. And the same way I had to look in the mirror and admit to myself, I don't love myself where I was. I can't respect the man that I was, and something needed to change. If you feel the same way, something needs to change. So my question to you is how long are you going to prolong your greatness that's on the other side of the discomfort you already don't like?
And I'm right there with you, coach. For me, it was the same thing. I had these set standards, these expectations from all the men around me who were telling me this is how you be a real man. And chasing these standards, chasing these expectations, trying to fit in this mold, this identity, this self-image of what they believe as real man, I never achieved it because I never achieved the vision or the image that they saw. It was
Mm-hmm.
only until I decided, you know what, I'm going to decide what it means to be a real man. I'm going to choose my life. That I was able to finally move forward. I was
Yep.
able to finally accept myself, to love myself, to rewrite the story that I was telling myself. That, like you said, you're not enough because, right, you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to live up to the standard that others have given you. But no longer. I'm only living up to my standards, no one else's. And I beg you, and I ask you to live up to your standards and no one else's.
I co-sign wholeheartedly, stamp that. And if you're sitting there and you're asking yourself, okay, you're right, I do have a self-image issue, but I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get past this. I'm willing to do anything and everything possible. I just need an answer. Then write down this answer because the answer to getting over a poor self-image is to start rewriting your story, to take ownership of your narrative, and to take back the power that you gave these stories when you were a little kid, and to use these to turn your traumas into your superpower.
We want you to become gentlemen. That's
Mm-hmm.
the ideal. That's the vision. And as a gentleman, you live up to your own standards. Now we give you the guideposts of being a gentleman, having that gladiator spirit, learning to leverage your time, being emotionally mature, and just nourishing your soul, and really just feeling energized to attack the world. But at the end of the day, you need to take hold of your future.
But I want to take a second to talk to the man out there who is tired of waiting for that magical thing to come and save his life. I'm talking about the man who is standing on the edge of the cliff, who is ready to do the work. The man who is ready to finally turn the page and leave the personal pity party he's been throwing for himself. If that man is you, then I want to invite you to join our round table. The round table is an exclusive men's group where we'll be helping men step out of their own misery and stepping into the shoes of the man that they always imagined they could be. It is where you will come week by week and you will get emotional, spiritual, physical, and mental game to help transform you into the man you always imagined you could be. If that man is you, shoot us a DM. If you're watching this on social media, if you're watching this on YouTube, drop a comment. Feel free to shoot us an email. You see our at names right there. Hit us up. Let's connect and let's see if you are a right fit for the round table.
Amen, amen. Join. Yo, message us. Honestly, if you just want to have a conversation, let's have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We're here to help and make an impact on the community of men out there who needs their voices to be heard.
Yep.
Right? And I love this quote by, I heard it from Nipsey Hussle, RIP. And, would you rather be at war with the world? Would you rather be at war with yourself and at peace with the world, or at peace with yourself and at war with the world? Honestly, when I decided to be at war with the world and peace with myself, that's when everything changed for me. I want the smoke. I can't make anybody else happy except myself. Everybody is responsible for their own happiness, and me trying to make somebody else happy is a waste of time if they never see themselves as happy people.
Period. Period. And honestly, I love what you said, right? I want all the smoke. Why? Because I'm living the life of my design. I don't need you to co-sign my actions. I don't need you to agree with where I'm going. Hell, I don't need you to like me as a person because I love myself as a man, and your like is extra and your hate is just more motivation, right? Because as men of the gentleman's table, one of the key benefits that you're going to eventually come to terms with is that you need to learn how to move through life unfazed. Because if you can't move through life unfazed, you are always one insult, one side comment, one negative story, one toxic ass relative away from shrinking back into that little boy who hated himself, who had that poor self image, who didn't believe he was worthy. But once you learn how to be unfazed, those comments don't phase you. The side comment, psh, you want the smoke? I'm for it. Try me. Like we say all the time, we were raised by wolves. If you come for my neck, I'm coming for your Achilles and I'm putting you down. And it's not out of hate and it's not out of disrespect, but it's out of love. Because it may not be personal, but it's personal.
And if you are a man and you're asking, what do I need to do? What steps do I need to take? Now, there's really two routes. And the first route is really, and I love this quote by Einstein, you cannot solve your problems with the same level of thinking that created them. You
Mm-hmm.
have to change the way you think. Change the way you think, change the way you feel, you change the way you act, and you'll get different results. A lot of us are just thinking the same way. Now, that's the slow way, and that just requires you putting the effort. And honestly, regardless, you're going to have to put in the effort, just what it is.
Facts.
Now, if you want faster, we created a Simba program where our goal is to help you get there faster. The S in our Simba program is that we want to focus on helping you change your story because we truly believe you can't change the stories about your past, about yourself. You can never move forward because you'll always be haunted by the ghost of the past. You have to let them go.
Another key thing that you're going to learn when you enroll in our program and you're learning our signature Simba system is you're going to learn how to use and create your own personal ideals so that you can not only discover your purpose, but that you can learn to walk with your purpose. Because as I said earlier, and as I'll continue to say, because it is always going to be true, and once you wrap your head around, you will see this everywhere around you. And it's the fact that people's fear of their greatness is stopping them from being great. But when you have an ideal, principle centered life that are from your ideals, not what your mama told you, your ideals, not what your uncle told you, your ideals, not what your homeboys told you makes a real man, walking in your purpose is second to none because it is it is where you will find peace. It is where you will feel like you are moving in alignment. And it is where you will finally find that self-love and respect that you've been yearning for your entire life.
And it's so important, really want to harp on the ideal. It's so important that you walk a principle centered life based off of your principles, based off of what you want in life, because then you'll never debate with yourself. This is what
Mm-hmm.
you have to do because who you are at your core. You don't change by doing new action, you change by becoming someone new and then doing those new. That's the key to change. And that leads to our next for Simba. And we're only going to go through the first three because we believe that you got to create your own sim, just like Sims. I don't know if y'all played the game, but the M, and this M, it means a lot. And it's really important. You need to learn how to play the game to win. You need to learn how to beat the Matrix. How do you beat the Matrix? You got to learn the rules to the game. If you don't know the rules to the game, how can you ever beat the game? If you're
Mm-hmm.
playing by somebody else's rules, how do you ever win? You have to understand them. And we've gathered materials, gathered information that has helped us beat the matrix helped us become the best version of ourselves, and we want to share that information with you.
And if all that sounds nice to you, but you're still sitting there and you're asking yourself, how do I know if this is the right program for me? How do I know if this is the right place for me to be? How do I know if this is the hub that I'm supposed to get my content? I want you to be honest with yourself right now. Are you a growth seeker? Do you consider yourself to be a student of success? Are you someone who is willing to fail his way to failure? And most importantly, are you someone who is committed enough to changing that you are willing to be coachable? Because if you are, this is the space for you. This is the program that can help you elevate your life. And this is where you will learn how to spread your wings and let your light shine. And we are so confident in this program that the first 10 guys who sign up for this program will get 50% off of their membership dues. That's how confident we are. So my question to you is, are you ready to get in the game? Or are you content to keep watching other people score from the sideline?
And I think it's very important that we understand, like, we're not here to work with people who don't want to change. If you don't want to change, keep listen to our content. Our goal is to provide information for free. We want to talk to those individuals who are ready to change, who are ready to leave the past behind, who are ready to grow. Because we can't force you. You can't lead a horse to the water and expect it to drink. You must be willing. The teacher comes and the student must be ready. The student must be ready to the teacher, because if you're not ready, and that's okay, you're not ready, but if you're finally ready to just, I need to make a change, I need to make something different, we're going to call you out on that, because that's what you want us to do. You want us to hold you accountable. And I think it's so important that we create a group of men that hold each other accountable, because if we don't hold ourselves accountable, how can we ever move forward?
That part. And I'll even double down on Amadeus said, because I'll tell you straight up, wholeheartedly, nothing but realness, heart to heart. One thing I am unwilling to do is to drag you into becoming the man that you claim you want to be, just for you to turn around and tell your homeboy that I held you hostage. I'm not doing it. If you're not ready for change, come get this free game. We'll give it to you. I'll take as long as you need. But if you're ready to change, if you're serious, if you are committed, hell, if you're just sick and tired of the life that you live, reach out to us. Because at the end of the day, reaching out when you need help is one of the hardest, but also one of the biggest acts of strength that a man can display. So I'm going to ask you this. Are you strong enough as a man to ask for and to go and earn the help that you claim you want?
Guys, if you have resonated with this content, if you feel like you're ready and you like the message that's being shared, subscribe, hit that like button, comment, reach out to us. You guys have our at names. It's right there, right at the Amadeus the Great and at Hardy Heals and Lifts. And we want to have these conversations. Come join our group. Come join us on this journey to becoming the best versions of ourselves. And that best version is the ideas that you set for yourself.
A to the men. And if you like this content, if you found value in this content, if you believe that you know a man in your life who could benefit from this content, do not be a gatekeeper. Spread the love, spread the game. Because like we said in the beginning, we're not doing this for us and we're not doing it just for you. We are on a mission to help men finally feel amazing about level up in life. Helping men finally feel that they have value and their value is not tied to their ability to provide, to their ability to support, to their ability to be the toughest person, right? So if you support this mission, if you believe that men should be able to empower themselves without needing to blame women for their problems, spread the love, reach one, teach one, give the game to your homeboys, and of course, reach out to us. We want to help you. We want to support you, and we're willing to help you do the work, but we can't do the work for you. But the good news is, if you're going to do the work, you know where to find us because we'll be here.
And that's it for our first episode, guys. It is time to awaken the giant within yourself and get that gladiator spirit, that warrior spirit, and come join us. Let's win together.
Let's do it, guys. Time to be great. And with that,
But on that note,
we will see y'all next time.
Y'all have a great, wonderful day.
Stay
Peace.
stay blessed.